I'm not insane. I'm not insane! Man, it's absolutely gorgeous out here.
This is insane.
I love it out here. It's very nice, cool, and inspiring, you know? Makes you want to do creative things.
Just a lot of birds, butterflies, flying insects, little chipmunks. Supposedly there's bears. We haven't seen any of them.
That there's a lot of bears out here. They're just not wanting to come to us.
I haven't seen any large mammals, but that's okay.
We don't need to see a large animal anytime soon.
Yeah.
We're good.
It'd be okay if I didn't see a bear.
Exactly. I don't want to see that stuff.
The hummingbird was cool. It was kind of like innocuous. Like, you know.
It was really cool. And welcome back to another episode of the Campfire Thoughts. Today we're doing a special episode where we're actually at a campfire. We are at the Bogan Flats in Carbondale, Colorado, and I am your host, Adrian and Seth, and today I got my co-host at the campfire, Seth Greenbaum.
Good evening, friends.
So we're going to be talking today just a little bit about our experience that we've been having at the campground, what it's been like camping out during the quarantine. It's kind of strange. There's a lot more people out here than you would expect.
I mean, it's what you expect for like a summertime in Colorado.
Yeah, I guess. It just seems just a little bit strange that there's so many people still out here.
Well, I'm reading The Stand by Stephen King, which is all about a virus that's like annihilating civilization. So like being out here and ignoring that is kind of weird, but it is nice to just like be able to be outside and not have to cover my face, which I can't do in the city. So
right, yeah. And that must be very nice to be able to just interact with people.
Well, but
yeah. And we're still in that close circuit, you know. New York was like, you can't be out here just fornicating with everybody.
Well, it's just different because, you know, it depends, like, you know, where you live, but for people who live in, like, urban areas like New York or, like, downtown areas of, like, cities, it's like, you can't go anywhere. It's like you feel constricted. It's like, you know.
Yeah.
I can't walk around my apartment building, you know.
You can't even walk around without a mask, can you?
In my apartment building?
Yeah.
I personally don't feel comfortable. Especially when I was like, you know.
When this first started happening and all that.
And it's just like, they didn't have enough, like, I didn't, knew what was going on yet. But it's nice to be out here for sure. This has been beautiful, and I don't want to leave.
We've just been surrounded by greenery, and we've seen so many different types of butterflies. It's insane.
Just like cooking smoked and grilled meats, cooked on an open campfire for like 4 days straight.
Did like baked potato Philly styled tacos yesterday.
It was basically a baked potato filled with a fajita, which was actually extremely delicious, and I recommend. It's probably a thing. I feel like that's a thing, but it was delicious. Definitely good camp food.
It was good camp food. It made everything really special.
It's definitely like an experience, like sitting out. You're just sitting with a bunch of birds and bugs, like when you were making bacon and the moth landed in the bacon grease.
Oh my god,
There's just something special about
that. That was so funny when the bacon that happened. I was a little startled by it. It was like, oh my gosh, there's a freaking moth in my oil. I'm cooking moth right now. Is that a delicacy now?
A dusty delicacy.
Crunch! That did not taste good, I'll tell you that much. Oh, but that barbecue place. So, in Carbondale...
Marble.
No, in Carbondale, the city of Carbondale, it stretches out to a whole bunch of other cities. And we're in between Carbondale and Marble. And we went out to Marble today. And Jesus Christ, we got a couple of samples of some marble for ourselves. That's going to be nice to have.
It's literally, you'd think it's a joke. Oh, there's marble everywhere. There literally is marble everywhere.
There was a house being constructed out of marble.
It was It looked like a place. It was like a cemetery factory. It looked like 1,000 tombstones, didn't it? Like,
it was a little eerie.
That was immediately what I thought was tombstones. But I also like grew up next to a cemetery, and just think about that all the time. But it just was like, I mean, marble's very beautiful. It was kind of like,
It's one of those places that you would expect it to have a little bit more popularity, but there was just, like, nothing there.
I had not thought of it. But it was a beautiful place, and I want to return.
All the views of the mountains were absolutely gorgeous.
I just love the concept of, like, a marble-focused, like, community. Like, focused on a particular rock.
They're just focused on polishing and chiseling.
Like, it's a beautiful rock to embrace,
Oh, yeah, it was so sparkly.
It looked like the marble. I'm no expert at marble, but it would look like the kind of marble that, like, like, it was, like, straight white marble, like the kind that you would make a statue out of, as opposed to, like, the marbly marble that you would make, like, a countertop out of, It seemed like it was very high quality.
It was, like pure white shit.
Yeah, it looked like hunks of, like, sugar everywhere.
I thought it was just like a brick of cocaine on the road.
Yeah. Giant crack rocks.
But it's been so nice. Hummingbirds every morning. We're, like, woken up to hummingbirds just coming around everywhere.
Yeah, they just, like, fly in. I think they smell our sugar.
Stay bean. Got dogs passing by. I'm pretty sure everyone's looking at us crazy because we have microphones and a computer all set up. Heckin' protecting dogs.
I'm sure lots of people have computers. It's just inside their, like, campers instead of just outside with a bar table.
Yeah, it's not just outside on a party table with two microphones just kind of spraying out of it.
Oh my god, this is pretty awesome.
Just want to make a quick shout out to Avid Power. He sent me these rechargeable batteries, so this way we can make this whole situation possible. Go get yourself an Avid Power battery tool at avidpowertools.com. Shameless plug. But, so we tried to go up to the Crystal Mill, too. That was insane.
Oh, no one, like, looked beforehand to see what the road conditions were. It's not really a road, it's like a trail that, like, people drive, like, four-wheel drive vehicles on, And, we had a truck, so, like, when we saw the sign that said four-wheel drive vehicles only, like, up ahead, Adrian was just like, okay, kicked into fourth gear and just, like, barreled down the road.
I was just like, yep, that's exactly what this car is a four-wheel drive vehicle. But, I mean, it is the F-150 extended edition, so it's a big car.
And it was just basically a pile of rocks going up a hill. Like, that's what the road was. And it was it was very skinny and, like, against, like, a cliff. And it was terrifying.
Yeah. And we were trying to turn we made it, like, maybe a mile and a half. And we're all freaking out because the grade is just getting, like, higher and higher and higher. And I'm like, okay, we keep going higher. My truck's just going to tip over.
We're behind people who look like they're in the Lunar Rover. Like, clearly not, like, a regular vehicle. Like, this road's not meant for regular vehicles. Or if it is, it's, like, not this particularly, like old F-150 that's, like, kind of falling apart.
You need one of those smaller all-terrain vehicles that would be able to actually go up that thing instead of tumbling down backwards.
Long story short, we thought we were going to die. When we turned around, I was, like, fairly sure we were going to barrel down that canyon, and that was going to be the end of us. But, luckily we're alive, and we made it back down, and, we had
there's a part of me that kind of wishes that someone would have pulled out one of their cameras and started recording how crazy it was, but, like, there's a other huge part of me that knows that everyone was way too terrified and petrified of what was going on to even consider it. Because, like I said, this was almost like an 80-90 degree angle. It was so steep, I don't even know why I thought we could probably try to do it.
I think it's, like, I don't know. I know it like levels off at a certain point, but like it was something that was probably like for a day hike. If you do want to go to Crystal Mill, I recommend doing a day hike or using like an all-terrain vehicle.
Yeah, when you go up towards the Crystal Mill, you can stop in this one place. You can stop in Crystal City at this one place.
No, in Marble.
Was it in Marble? I thought it was a little bit past Marble, like towards Crystal City, because it was right
that shit
before
was
Beaver
right by,
Creek.
Yeah, all that shit was right by the barbecue place. Yeah.
Oh. Well, you can go and rent out these all-terrain vehicles that would actually take you all the way up to the mountain without any problems.
But yeah, there's a beautiful mill that's up there. That's like on postcards and shit. So.
And the mill itself wasn't even used to do crystal. It was a flour mill.
to make meth?
No, like, they couldn't fish out, like, minerals. When I thought of the Crystal Mill, I thought it was going to be, like, a panning facility where they tried to mill out the water and get, like, gems and gold and silver through it. You're over here thinking that's crystal meth.
I thought you were making a joke. Sammy. Oh, my God.
A nasty. But yeah, the first day here was kind of a disaster.
What?
It was, as soon as we got here, like, everything was melted and everything was falling apart.
Oh.
We were trying to set up the tents, and, I mean, this place is absolutely gorgeous, but the one thing that it could do a little bit better is have bigger camping spots, but that's a little bit more on me, too. I probably should have looked in a little bit deeper.
We figured it out, though.
Yeah. The first night, they have a pad out here for your tent, and then the first night, we had our tent up on the hill at an angle while Seth was on the pad, and it was just like a really weird night. It wasn't like too steep to make me fall off the bed while I was sleeping, but like, I did wake up in the middle of the night being like, oh, gotta push myself up here.
Could be worse. One night when I was camping in Tennessee, I slept under a rock. Like Patrick the Starfish.
He's still here.
Keep protecting. Are you protecting, Sam?
But you had to sleep under a rock? Was it because it was like raining and stuff?
Like, we had gotten there, we had driven from Virginia, like, we had slept in Shenandoah, and, like, drove down to the Smokies, and, it was, like, getting nighttime, and, like, we were backpacking, so we were gonna be on the trail for, like, a few days, but we didn't, like, make it to the shelter. We had to, like, just camp where we were, because it was getting dark, you know?
Oh.
And, we were gonna, like, we were gonna set up camp in, like, a clearing, but we found a rock. Like, outcropping, and just put a tarp up over it and, like, slept under it.
So you pretty much made yourself like a makeshift lean-to?
Kind of.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty nuts. And it was, like, right under, like, the ridge of the mountain. And we didn't, like, realize it, so I, like, woke up in the morning and took a shit, like, right at the ridge of the mountain.
You're just like, I'm gonna poop off this ridge. And send my shit into a canyon of distress.
Obviously buried and everything like you're supposed to, but it was so it could be worse. It's a nice setup here though. This was much more relaxing camping experience.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot different than what we've been to. Like, a lot of the times, me and you have gone camping, and we've gone camping up towards, like, the middle or towards the top of the mountain. Like, there was that one time we went out with Russ, and, I don't remember exactly where we were, but we were camping near, like, the tree line, where the oxygen stops.
We were out, like, in Guanella Pass.
Yeah, Guanella Pass.
Near about Bierstadt, and it was cold as shit. But we didn't have, like, firewood.
And Russ was... Yeah, because it was super wet, because it was a really wet winter that year, and we decided to go really early in the year.
Yeah.
But, Russ had to sleep in the tent that year, because... Or not in the tent, in the car, because he was like, I was freezing the entire time, and I couldn't do it. So I was just like, dude, that sucks so hard.
Yeah, it's like these mountains, even in the summer, it's like rough some of the nights. If it's like wet, you know,
It's over.
it's like it gets so cold.
Yeah. It's not even wet today, and it got a little it's the coldest that it's been all week.
Yeah. I remember we went camping, the first time I took you camping, it like rained like for half the time we were out, and it was like...
It was still nice, though.
Yeah, but it was cold as shit. Like,
Oh, yeah.
It was like hard to sleep. I remember we slept in like a puddle.
Yeah.
Because it like rained so much.
That was the year you found out that you had holes all over that tent, too.
Oh my god.
And it leaked inside, and literally I was covered in water when we woke up.
Oh man. And then I got to replace that tent. I got this like piece of shit tent that was like the one I had up until like last year. That was like and like last year it was like sleeping, and like it was raining, and it was like it wasn't even raining that much, but it was like it had been doing it for so long that like the fly was like just dripping, and like there was no like roof on the inside of the tent, so I was like sitting there like
Look at the pillow.
What's wrong?
There's an ember.
I was like sitting in the night, like I'm like so wet. Why is everything in my tent wet? And then I like look up, and a drop of water like lands right in my face, and then it's just like it gets worse and worse and worse. It's just like raining inside my tent, like because of the water all condensating inside of it. It was terrible. My situation now is much better.
Oh yeah, you got yourself this Coleman tent. It's the
It's a palace. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. It's stupid. You'd never be able to use it for anything unless you don't bring a card to it, but it's great.
Screened 6.
You can't take it backpacking. You can't really, but it is great.
I mean, you can take it backpacking, but it's going
If you
to be
have a
very
group of
heavy.
people. If you have people to split the supplies with.
Yeah, like you're bringing the tent, someone else brings the beds. Like, well, of course you bring your own bed, but like they bring like a mattress pad that's big enough for everybody.
Yes.
Like finding a king size mattress pad.
What, if you go backpack? You can't bring that backpack here.
Why not?
Where would it? Oh, like a king size mattress pad?
Yeah, that's what one guy brings. He just brings a king size mattress pad that he's holding on his
That
back.
everyone sleeps in.
Yeah. He disinfects it after every use.
They just like all like have one sleeping bag, and they all like get naked and just sleep in the one sleeping bag. They're really close friends.
If it slips in, they just ignore it.
They just stay flaccid the whole time. They're just able to do that.
Stay flaccid, my friends.
Oh my god.
But since we're at this campfire, why don't we tell some spooky stories?
Okay, well, I'll toss a load and then do this. Alright.
Another log added to the fire. And now the fire rises.
Yeah, I had to, add some fuel, as we bring in the night.
It's gonna get cold tonight, so that's good.
Yeah. Excuse me, America.
So, this ghost.
Oh, yes. Alright. So this is a true story. Everything that I'm telling you happened to me when I was a kid. Set the scene. I grew up in Maryland, and in sort of the hilly areas of like Baltimore County. I went to this Jewish summer camp, and it wasn't like a regular. It wasn't like a sleepaway camp. It was like a day camp, and but we would every year there would be like an overnight camping trip. That the people who were in the people who were did the cutting the trails and stuff like that, in their activities and shit, would go and go camp out in the clearing that they clear cut from the trails and everything. We spent the whole summer clear cutting trails and clear cutting the camping area, and then went and camped in that area. And then And like they did it every year to like re-clear the trails and everything. Anyway, like one year when they were clear cutting all the trails, they discovered this and this was just like kids and shit. I mean, we were like 12 years old or whatever. They found this like in like the brush, they found like tombstones.
There's random tombstones?
Well, yeah, cuz like they weren't random. No, it was like a whole graveyard. Like cuz the land, it was like from the Civil War or like from like right after the Civil War. And it was land that had gotten like reclaimed. Like and gotten bought, like that used to be like plantation land, and like so the cemetery had gotten like kind of wrapped up, had gotten like overgrown and everything and forgotten as it gotten like sold to like private like developers, like, and right behind it was like a housing development, so it was like all this like forested area on the edge of a housing development and a camp that no one had like noticed before. So like they clear cut them like an area into the cemetery, and like we spent a lot of the summer like clear cutting the cemetery itself and like recording what was like on all the tombstones, and like that's when we noticed all the dates. And of relevance to this story is the one grave where it was the grave of an infant, and that was like, it was like a smaller headstone, and like it like had the dates, it had not even lived a year, and and like the grave was like kind of shallow, so like the dirt was like, you could see the outline of like the grave.
That's creepy.
And like, and it had like eroded away, like of the coffin and shit underneath. And like they were like, some kids were trying to like dig it up, I think, like and they had to like stop them and shit. And then like,
some kids probably came in, did dig it up like completely and put it up on top and like shittily buried it.
No, because I saw it. It was like encased in like hard like clay. Like you'd have to really dig it out, like with a chisel, like to get it out, or it's like a pickaxe or a shovel, like a big spade.
Like it was almost like it was preserved.
No, it's just sort of like it had like they had buried it, like in clay soil, and then a lot of it had like but they didn't bury it like deep enough, so a lot of it had washed away. But what was on top of it was like caked on. So like what you saw was like a grave of a baby with like a square outline in the dirt, like a rectangular outline, like size of a baby.
Jesus.
And it was so disturbing, and like we all like oh, like we gotta go. It's like, and like so like it was like a thing that summer, like everyone had to go see the fucking graveyard and shit. And then like
was it one of those like, if you don't go to the graveyard of the baby, then you're not cool, or you're a little bitch or that shit?
Well, no, it's just like, it's sort of like, I mean, nobody didn't want to go see the baby grave. I mean, who doesn't? It was really just the cemetery in general, or maybe it just attracted a certain demographic of people. It's like,
really, kids are just going there just to make out.
But I think it was mostly the only people who really knew about it were the kids who were going in the nature group, going and cutting the trails and shit. Like, and I was in that group, and me and my friend ended up going on the overnight camping trip that year, and that was like the thing. It's like we went like into our clearing, which was separate from the cemetery, and then like we set up camp and like were, cooking dinner and everything, and then like we went on like a hike. We were like, okay, we gotta go hike to the cemetery as like it gets to like dusk, because it's spooky, and fun. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And like counselor was just like, yeah, let's go walk to the cemetery because it's like getting like nighttime. Everyone bring your flashlights or whatever, and it'll be like fun. And then we'll go
explore the cemetery.
We'll go tell ghost stories or whatever, and then
look for Scooby-Doo while we're out there.
And so we all like hike into the woods up to this clearing. Scooby-Doo would have saved us in a situation. And we so there's this one kid who was on the camping trip too. And he was a nice kid, and I always played like chess with him at camp, and like so we were like friends. Yeah. And he just had bad like ADD, Mm-hmm. Like he was kind of a weird kid, but he just seemed like a kid who had bad weird ADD, Yeah. Like just like hyper, like super smart and like hyper, like But like anyway, he was like Anyway, it was a little odd though because he like wore sweatpants all summer,
Who wears sweatpants all summer?
I don't know, but it was.
I wear sweatpants during the night.
It was hot as shit, and like he wore sweatpants all summer. So I don't know. Maybe
he must have been like embarrassed about his legs or something.
There might have been some issue going on, but I was too young to maybe notice it. But like, it's like a hallmark of certain mental issues. So like, who knows what was going on?
Lifetime special.
It was like there was like the Lifetime special, but anyway, he was like on the trip with us, and like he was like pretty quiet like the whole time, and like we go out to the cemetery, and like we're like walking around the cemetery, like checking it out or whatever. Like kids are like taking rubbings of the gravestones or whatever, and I'm with my friend, and me and her were just sort of like gossiping, like in the corner, like bullshitting, and like talking about boys, and then suddenly there's this like insane like hissing sound, like like a cat or something, and it was this fucking kid with the sweatpants standing on top of the baby grave, hissing and drooling. And like with like his like he looked like with his claws out, and like hunched over and like hissing and shit, and like drooling. And the counselor, like, there's this older dude like came up and was just like, "Are you okay? Do you need help?" And then fucking this kid just like lunged at him and like dug his teeth right into his arm.
What the fuck?
And it started bleeding everywhere.
What?
And he was standing on top of the baby grave. So we all. And that was the only counselor who was with us, by the way. And the counselor was, like, screaming, like, "Get an ambulance!" Like, help! Like, call 911. And, like, so everyone, like, bolted. Like, all the kids, like, bolted to go to the front office or whatever, like, down the trail back to go get someone who could, call an ambulance,
Yeah.
And,
get this guy his rabies shot, because obviously this kid just got infected.
Well, it's like clearly the kid just got possessed by the baby ghost and then like went into like a demonic fit and bit the counselor, and like
the baby had unfinished business to do.
Like, who knows what the fuck was going on in that specific moment, but we were all scared shitless. And
well, what if it was just like this guy, he listens to the podcast and he listens to this episode and now he's just like, ha, my evil plan worked the entire time. He's just like 100% fucking with every single one of you, and you guys fell for it.
Listen, it was probably a guy just having like a seizure or something, but like I think like in general, like at the time we were like, holy shit, the demon possessed child is like biting this man, and we need to go run.
Did you get to like interact with this kid later on? Like, did you see this guy later
No, I never
in
saw him
life?
again.
You never saw him again?
No, I never saw him again. No, that was the last time I saw him, and like was running from the graveyard, and so we're like running, and me and my friend, who were like kind of separate from the rest of the group, like talking and shit, like we got like far behind, so we were like walking in the woods, like at dusk, like hearing screaming in the background, hissing, and we're like, what is going on? We cannot like process what the fuck is going on, right? And we end up all going back to the campsite, and it's like there's no adult that shows back up at the campsite for like a while. And, like, when they do, it's, like, there's ambulances and shit, like, following them.
Oh, Jesus.
And, like, so we're all sitting there. We don't know what the fuck is going on. And so we're just sitting around the campfire, like, trying to, just figure out what the fuck was going on. And, like, and, while this is all happening, like, not from our campfire, but, like, we see, like, kind of lights in the distance and, like, smoke. Like coming from the edge of where we are in the forest, and it starts getting like worse and worse and worse. Like there's a fire in the forest that we can see. So we and then like this guy comes up and it's like, you gotta get out of the campsite. The forest is fire. Like someone started a brush fire.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Oh, that kid totally killed that counselor, and they burned his body, and then they burnt it a little too much, and then caught the forest on fire. And that's why you never saw that kid again.
I did see the counselor.
The story. Oh my bloody fuck.
Yeah, that kid
Yeah,
did
so-
definitely kill him.
There's more. So like we're all at this overnight camping trip. There was a tent, so we all like grab our shit and like run to like the office area. Like it's like a trailer that's like the office of the camp, you know? And we're all like, okay, we don't know what to do. Like you can't sleep in the woods. There's a fire, and like a kid's already been sent to the hospital, so you're gonna sleep on the floor of this trailer tonight.
Fine. Yeah, give me my fucking carton of milk and my goddamn newspaper pillow.
So we're all sleeping on the fucking floor of this trailer. In the middle of the night, this girl gets up and starts screaming, "Let me out! Let me out! Let me out! Let me out!" And then goes right back to sleep. She didn't know what happened. And so we're like, okay, we're not sleeping tonight.
What in the
Like, we
hell?
all like looked at each other like,
What in the name of Stockholm Syndrome is up with that chick? Like, oh my gosh.
listen, at the time, I went to a Jewish camp. No one thought it was ghosts. Everyone was like, the child had a seizure. It was like an emergency medical situation. You know, the parents have been contacted, you know. Please don't make a big deal out of it. But so like, and like, it's like sort of later when I tell the story to other people, they're like, clearly like the baby ghost possessed that fucking child to bite the counselor and was pissed off and set fire to the fucking forest, and then possessed that girl in the office screaming, "Let me out of this coffin."
Oh,
my God.
Jesus.
Okay, well, you just connected all the dots. Now I'm terrified. I need to go to the bathroom. Who wants to hold my hand?
No, I'm scared. I'm like scared myself of this.
That's
yeah.
absolutely terrifying.
And yeah, so it was like literally like, and like we were like camp the next day and like had to like explain it to people.
And they were just like, what?
Yeah, and it was like we were like telling people, and then like the counselors were like, "You really have to stop talking about it." And then we couldn't talk about it anymore, except in private.
Oh, jeez. That's just ridiculous.
It's like I've lost contact with the people who this happened to, so I always wonder if people hear about it, who know about this experience.
Yeah, I would love to get some of those people on and talk to those people, because that's quite an interesting story. You know, get more people in on it. Maybe there was a couple of campers that were able to like stick around and see what was happening after that kid. Like, I want to really know what happened with that brush fire. Like, was that just a passerby camper, or was it maybe like you said, the fucking cemetery baby was so pissed off about this kid stomping on his grave that he decided to start a forest fire.
I don't know. There were popping sounds though, like firecrackers or something.
Like, kid decided he was gonna go smoke bomb style. He was like, disappear, pat 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 pat, and then realized they were firecrackers and not smoke bombs.
Well, it's like hard to tell, you know. Like, we didn't know what the fuck was going on. Where's Anaya? Oh, there she is. Sammy has such just like splayed out.
Gotta move over because my little puppy's probably gonna want to lay on me.
So yeah, that was probably the most like intense, like real kind of supernatural experience I've ever had.
That's an insane supernatural experience too. Like, it can be like debuffed, but like at the same time, it's
Literally, I didn't think of it as a ghost story until I was older. Like, I thought of it as just like the crazy shit that happened at camp with that weird kid. Like, it was just not something that we operated with, you know, as ghosts. But like, it definitely, like, now that's like, I think, take pause and think like, oh, maybe it could have been something supernatural, you know. Because it definitely was like a lot of shit happening all in one night, you know. And it was like I went that camp for a few summers. We never went back to that cemetery. They just let it grow over.
So, I'm wondering now, like, how much of that forest fire, how much did it destroy? You know? Like, since you guys weren't able to go back there anymore, like, did it destroy it so much that it...
No, I mean, it's Maryland, so, like, it's not the type of forest that, like, burns easily, so it was just, like, underbrush. Like, the trees didn't burn.
Just a little small.
Like sticks and stuff.
Sticks and stones may
brush.
break my bones, but the forest fire will never touch me.
Right, it's not like Colorado where it's like this thing would like go up in a fucking second.
Oh, maybe that's what I should tell us. I should get more information about the Glenwood Springs fire. You know about that?
Which fire? There's been so many fires.
So there was, I can't exactly remember what year it was. I think last time when Dave told me it was like 14 years ago. So it's probably been like 15 to 20 years ago. There was a forest fire out in the mountain pass of Glenwood that was started by a rogue campfire that wasn't put out all the way.
Right.
And just, a public PSA to anybody out there that's going to go camping. When you go and leave your campsite, please extinguish your fire.
Otherwise, Smokey the Bear is going to come into your house tonight and stalk you.
He will punch you straight in the face for not putting out your fire.
He'll
Put
come
out
to your
fucking
house
fire.
and set your house on fire.
Fire's not a joke. But it started off with the embers of an unextinguished fire causing it to light a small fire, and it ended up progressing. So in the middle of Glenwood Springs, there's only one fire department. It's not a big fire department either, because the fire department's morally supposed to cater towards the resorts that are out there, which there's only like one or two out there. But it starts going. They're trying to get up to it and can't really get up to it because it's on the side of a mountain. You can't just necessarily drive up the side of the mountain with a fire hydrant or a fire truck. Fire hydrant.
Get that bridge open.
Get that fire hydrant. They couldn't really get a truck up there to spray it down, so they're trying to use like helicopters. They're calling in different fire departments from like Oregon and Utah and California. It got so bad that this fire, I think it was at like 40 acres of land already consumed at the side of this mountain. This fire started spreading to the edges of the mountain, and the wind picked it up so fast that it started jumping across the highway.
Wow.
The fire department had to shut down the highway both ways, which there's only one highway that leads in and out of Glenwood Springs. And that's 285. So they completely shut that down for, I think he said like a day or two. But it jumped across and started burning across the other mountain range. I think Dave said that there was like 79 firemen and women that lost their lives that day to that fire. And now the city of Glenwood Springs has restricted the campsites to very, very minimal and to reserve only in Glenwood because they're trying to preserve the natural beauty of Glenwood Springs. Throwing an amusement park on it too. That preserves the nature.
and the hot springs.
Get your thrills and chills. Go and enjoy your time up at the adventure park, and then go and take it down to the hot springs and soak for a while.
Chill in the lazy river. I don't know if there's a lazy river or not. I don't want to advertise a lazy river that's not there.
Well, right there, that river
There's an actual river that's not lazy.
No, it's not lazy. Well, actually, near the springs, there's a spot. There's a couple of spots that are waiting areas where you can like relax and shit.
Yeah.
But that's the Shoshone River. It's the one that we went tubing down. Not us, but me and Ellie and her dad went down. And we got to go right into the hot springs that they would use, like the natural hot spring that's in the river.
Oh, nice.
And
Was it
we
nice?
were able to, yeah. They said that it's like the deepest spot. It's the deepest like natural lake in the U.S.
God, that's something we gotta do. Is go to the hot springs.
Yeah. Ellie actually lost a plug there. She was just swimming around and then popped up and then was like, "Fuck! I'm missing a plug."
That's a beautiful.
Sun's finally set. Stars are starting to peek out. Notice out here you can see so many freaking stars.
Oh yeah.
Like you could see the moons that are connected with the stars.
The Milky Way.
The whey.
The Milky Way.
The Milky Way protein. Like, I'm even surprised we can't even see, like, the space debris in the Milky Way. Like, all that dust and stuff from all the asteroids hitting each other.
You could see it.
You can see it out here?
Like, faint. It wasn't, like, the way that like, you can see it in some places, but... You know, I think the most intense kind of star situation I ever saw was when I was out in the desert in Utah, like, years ago.
Yeah. Was it just, like, crystal clear when you were out there?
Just the sky's so big, you know, and there's no clouds.
There's not much trees in Utah either, is there?
Not in that particular part of Utah. This was in, like, in the south. Southwest, southeast Utah.
The, like, deserty Moab part of
Yeah, like
Utah?
the Colorado Plateau with, like, the red desert.
Is the Colorado Plateau even in Colorado?
Part of it is. It's like in Grand Junction. That's part of the Colorado Plateau.
Okay.
It's like it's like a geological like phenomenon where it's like where the river flows out of the mountains, like it flows into this like it's like in this vast like flat area where it like cuts into it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the plateau, and that's like all that like red stone and like arches and Moab and all that stuff. That goes all the way in the Grand Canyon and like all that stuff. So it's like that kind of environment.
We need to go do a podcast out at the Grand Canyon too.
I would love to go see that one day in my life. Yes, something we should do.
I know I want to take Ellie out there as well. She's been wanting to see it. She also wants to go see Mount Rushmore. South Dakota is absolutely gorgeous. You been to South Dakota?
No, we talked about this. I would love to go. We should go.
And there's something about the way that the Black Hills look. Like it's just like this deep, dark green with this dark brown and black underneath that just makes it look so pretty.
Right, they're sort of like right, because the area around that's generally pretty flat. Like it's not a mountainous area.
No, not
surrounding
entirely.
it.
I mean, until you get towards, Rushmore, it's pretty flat.
It's just a little pocket of like, there's some sort of like, it's like a boulder stuck in a stream or something.
Yeah.
Or like a Zen garden.
There's that river that flows right under it too, where you can see the front and back if you go tubing down it.
What do you mean the front and the back?
Like you can see the back of Mount Rushmore, which is just literally like a hill.
Yeah.
It's just like a greenery hill. It's very pretty. There's a whole bunch of trees and just luscious greenery. It's all protected under the state's wildlife program, so no one can go and touch it. That's why I think it's so funny whenever anybody is like, oh, they're going to put such and such's face on Mount Rushmore. And I'm like, good luck with that, because the state of South Dakota will not permit that. Like, they're even being very cautious with, what is it, the Crazy Horse? The Crazy Horse statue?
Oh, yeah. That's there too, yeah.
They're only able to blow up so much at a time, so this way it doesn't disturb the natural habitat, and plus they refused. So when they were doing Crazy Horse, the first like initial building process of it, it came after Mount Rushmore. The indigenous people that did own that land owned where they did Mount Rushmore, and they
were probably pissed the fuck off.
Yeah. The U.S. just came in, took it straight from them, and just did it. They broke off part of the treaty with the Sioux, and just were like, screw it, we're going to do it. So they got very mad and tried to ambush some of the federal people in this time period. And they ended up saying, okay, we're sorry, you can have this land for yourself. If you want, you could build a statue in its honor to the person that carried out the thing, the ambush, which was General Crazy Horse. And they said, we will fund it for you. We will give you all the dynamite, we'll give you all the tools, all the supplies, and they told them to go fuck themselves. And I'm pretty sure...
It's about, like, Wounded Knee and all that stuff.
We're about to die.
It's okay, we got the...
Ah, shit.
It was, like, the Lakota... Like, they had originally signed a treaty that they would keep the Black Hills and they wouldn't take it.
Yeah.
And then, like... It was like the Wounded Knee, like the United, like the government attacked them and they lost, and then they took the Black Hills, and then they carved up those guys into it at some point. But they ran out of money, so it's like it's only their heads.
Yeah, and they have these little shirts in their gift shops at Rushmore, where it's like, wow, it's these elderly couple in like the New York Times cartoonish drawings. And they're at the back of Mount Rushmore where there's legs and butts. It says, I think we're somewhere behind Mount Rushmore. My stepdad used to wear that shirt like every single day for a year.
Oh my god, that's such a dad shirt.
It was all white too, so it got like super nasty.
It's gross.
You know, like normal dad clothing does.
Yeah, the Mount Rushmore ass shirt is getting washed regularly.
No, he's taking it to work and cleaning up King Supers and stuff like that.
Shit. I could give or take Mount Rushmore. I feel like you gotta see it, but...
There's way other cooler stuff to go see in South Dakota. Like the Cosmos are really cool. Cosmo is it's a house up in Black Hills that's supposed to be either quote cursed, or it is the central gravitational pull of that pole area in South Dakota. Because once you go towards you get closer and closer towards the house, the trees start folding in and you start walking at an angle. So you get up to the house and you're not standing straight up, you're standing like at a...
Oh, the mystery spot? You're talking about the mystery spot?
The mystery house?
Yeah.
Cosmo's mystery house?
Yeah. I've heard about this. It's like a Horizon phenomenon. Oh
yeah, dude, the place is great. But don't go there and drink a ton of water before entering the house.
Why? Does it make you have to pee?
No. We're in the house, and our instructor is talking to us. He's telling us to hold on to the handrail, because if you do let go, you will be completely thrown off balance, and you will fall, and it will hurt really bad. Because and he demonstrated to us. He was like, I'm keeping my balance without holding on to anything. If I were trying to stand straight up, he stood up and fell the opposite direction he was leaning when he stood up.
Yeah.
So he's like leaning left. He tried standing up and went completely right over. Got back up, stood up back at that left angle. He was telling everybody that gravity works backwards in here. He was like bouncing a ball, and when it would bounce, it would stop on the ground and just... It'd bounce once, go 2 inches, then fall back to the ground. But if he threw it on the roof, it would bounce throughout the house in different places. He was saying that water even works differently too. And I noticed this girl next to me is like squirming a little bit and just like uneasy and just doesn't look comfortable. He takes the water and he goes, "This is what happens when you drink water in this house." He takes it and the water starts going up towards the roof. And as soon as he finishes pouring it up towards the roof, he puts it back and he's like, "Isn't that cool?" This girl throws up. And it goes straight upwards towards the roof. Yeah. Luckily, all she had was water and like granola bars, because it was just like chunks of granola and clear liquid. But it was still just like, oh my fucking god, that just happened. That
That's
was
funny.
fucking gross.
That's like there's like a. That's funny that she found the mystery spot. There's a lot of places like that. Like, you know, there's one in California, and there's like a hill in Texas where like you roll a ball down the hill and it like rolls up the hill. It has something to do with like your relationship to like the horizon in those areas, like how much you can see it.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like a thing where your brain gets fucked up, and like that house is literally built at an angle, but when you see it, it looks like it's straight because of where the horizon is.
I mean, that does make sense because it is like in the middle of a mountain range, and then all of a sudden you go into like this crater, and it's in the crater of the mountain.
Right, so you can't see the horizon anywhere around it, right?
No.
And so like you're disoriented, so this house like can be made to look like it's like level, but it's actually at an angle.
That's really cool.
It's really cool. It's like, it's not like, it's something that's like, it's very like, it's in mountain ranges, or in Texas I don't think it's in a mountain range, but it's in some hilly like area where there's like just a weird phenomenon like that. There's a lot of them in America.
We need to go to see them all.
Yeah, it's a fun thing.
Make a road trip out of it. That's what I'm gonna do when I go senile.
Go to the mystery spots.
All the mystery spots.
Just vomit in all the mystery spots.
Drink a ton of water at every single one. Just
Oh my god.
that didn't ruin the experience though, thankfully. Like,
I feel like that would add to it.
it did. I savored the moment even more.
Yeah.
We got shot glasses from there. You know, they were all standing up when we bought them. We get home, they're like this.
That's funny.
They broke in one of our moves, unfortunately, but like, those were the crown gem to any party. Like, anybody's like, let's do shots. I bring out those, and they're like, what the fuck is that?
Can you use them?
Yeah.
Oh.
They worked regular. It was heavier on one side, so it could counterbalance it when you
wouldn't
poured
fall
in
out?
alcohol. No, it never fell.
Oh.
They would all, they'd stay perfectly up.
It wouldn't spill.
No spill. Unless if you're too drunk, no spill.
That's funny.
But I think we're going to wrap it up here. Keep this a very short and special episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this short episode of the Campfire Thoughts. We hope to hear from you guys again. And follow us on all of our social medias at Campfire Thought. And if you would like to be on the show, give us a quick shout out at campfirethoughtspodcast@gmail.com. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you. Have a good night.